Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Hope you're well. I've not uploaded in a little bit, just it's been hot and I've just really not been in the videoing mood, but I straightened up some of these saws in here and I seen Smitty's video showing all of his saws, and Aaron and some of you other guys had shown all your saws, and I'm like, my God, I have nothing, but you know, I do have quite a bit, so we'll show what's here in the shop, I guess. First one, really, I hate these things. It's a little mini Mac 110 or a Mac 110. Picked it up flea market about 3 weeks ago. 20 bucks, you know. Old boy said it would run, is what the guy said, but you know, it didn't have gas. But the chain was rusted to the bar. I knew it wouldn't run, but probably needs a carb kit. It'll fire on a prime, so we're going to get into that and get it running, get whatever it needs. I've not had real good luck with those in the past, so it's kind of time to tame the beast, I guess. And, you know, we'll get it going, and then if I feel we can do anything with it, we may go into that and do a mild port on it and try to make a little ripper out of it, but who knows. That's Yankee Nimrod's 044 that got a couple videos on. I don't know if you got my email I sent today, but we got the worm gear, but there was no oil pump in the box or in the package, so I don't know. You might want to look into that, but I've got everything here but the oil pump. And then that'll be all we need to call that one a done deal, or at least I hope so. But I did send you an email on that today. So we'll go to the bottom here. This will probably be a long video, guys, be running my mouth, but, you know, whatever, I'm bored. This is the one we called the hot saw, you know, hot saw it's not, but for a 54cc saw and a Mac 1010, dang thing pretty stout, you know, and I've got other ported ones here, they're stout as well, but we done a lot of extra stuff to this one that I hadn't done before, and I think I just kind of got lucky on it too, to be honest with you, but you can see there's no stack on top of it anymore. That thing got destroyed out working it, because we do work our saws. Had a really nice Promac 1010 tank, air filter, carburetor and all, so we just put that on the saw, so she's more of a work saw now anyway, and it runs just as good as it did with the stack on it, so looked cool and all, but wasn't very good for getting out and doing actual work with the thing. Next, this is the one we put together out of the two junk saws. If you'll remember, I picked all the best parts. We put some rings in it, new seals, carb kit, fuel line. Done a pretty healthy port job on it. Got several videos on it. Really, really torquey, really strong saw. This is a really nice Promac 1010. This is the one I've done the video on. Port work on it's a little milder than this one, but they're really not a whole heck of a lot of difference in the way they run. These older ones make just a little bit more static compression. They got a little tighter squish, so naturally it's going to have a little more bottom end grunt than this one, and I'd actually open the transfers up on this one a little more than that one as well, but both really good running, really nice work saws. Then down here, let's see, our 2171, really liking that saw. I'm probably going to end up biting the bullet and buying the Johnser handlebar to go on it. You know, it's a little costly, but plan on keeping that saw and working it a lot. And as you can see, the 372 handlebar, the bottom bolt hole just don't quite make it, but you know, it's pretty sturdy. I don't think it'll ever give me a problem, but we'll probably get the handlebar that's meant for it. In the back, got the 288 XP. Guys, that is a bad saw, I'm telling you. There's video of it. I'm not for sure why, but it's not got a lot of views. I think it was because it went up as one of those stupid shorts. Seems they don't get the views as a regular video, but video of my dad running that, and a pretty big piece of wood tree we cut down wasn't anything dead. It was good sound wood, and This thing's just tearing right through it. I mean, I've probably put a couple hours on it since the rebuild. Hell, we didn't rebuild it. Since the port work, this is one we done the video on, but I put a couple hours on it. It's just a bad saw, but it's got a new home. It's going back down to Florida. We've done a little more trading with Simple Man. He really liked the saw, and you know, I'll let go of stuff. It's no big deal. We're trading them back out of a couple more saws, but you can look forward to maybe a couple more 288 builds in the future. Let's see, where do we want to start over here? And like I said, guys, this will be a little long, but you know, whatever, it is what it is. Promac 55, Indiana Doug. It seemed where I commented they'll eat a 1010 alive in the comments. I think it was Indiana Doug. If it was someone else, I apologize, but these saws have quite some bit more compression than a 1010. They have a 46mm bore over the 44.47, 57 cc's versus 54.5. They have better transfers. The exhaust ports squared off all the way out, but I kind of made D shapes out of this one when I ported it. That is one bad saw. It'll run right with, if not beat, the stock Promac 700 that I have. Just really responded well to port work, but there's video on it. I think it's titled like the Hot Rod 55 or something. You guys are welcome to watch it if you're a new subscriber, and welcome. Then here we just have a bone stock Promac 1010 and a bone stock Mac 1010. Both good strong saws. These are the ones we done the video, you know. Stock Mac 1010 versus stock Promac 1010. In that video, the Mac 1010 beat it in the same piece of wood by about 3 seconds, and I'd sat and made multiple cuts with both saws, and you know, the Mac 1010 was handing it to it every time. So, you know, like, again, they have a little more static compression, a little more bottom end grunt. You know, it just is what it is. The Pro does have electronic ignition, but you know, it's basically the same port design and port timing, and you know, stock for stock. In my experience, the old Mac 1010 automatics, and I do mean the ones with the black top. I've never had one of the older ones that has lightweight road on it and it's right hand start, but I've heard they are a little weaker, but you know, I don't know. I've had a lot of these saws over the years. Let's see, let's move on. We'll get into this one in another video. It's an 048. It's the one Yankee Nimrod sent us, the fellow that sent us the 044 we're working on. Pinkie Pie, if you're new to the channel, that's my wife's little 192 TC. It's ported little ripper for a 30cc saw. We've put hours and hours and hours on that thing since it was put together. Just a bad little saw. My big bore 372 pop up in it. You're welcome to watch the videos on that. I have videos showing it when we build it. Then we swapped the top end on it out and put a big bore on it and a pop up. One of those deals, time and numbers were just amazing on it, and you can welcome to watch the video on it. Saw just flat out rips. Put several hours on it as well. Seems to be holding up good. You know, I do have parts coming to build another one, but it's gonna have a stock OEM bottom end on it, and it'll be a big bore, but that'll be next month sometime because I screwed up. Ordered all my plastic and stuff and had it shipped by the big boat, so we're gonna be waiting a while. And top end we pulled off of that's the one that's on the John's rig now, so we don't throw stuff away. I try to keep it and put it to use if possible. And my God, it's still hot out here. I'm pouring the sweat. These are saws I kind of keep sitting barred up. This is the 024 Super we just redone. Got a video on it. Had a basically had to put a piston in it and done some pretty good port work to it. Another one of those timing numbers just fell right where we wanted to without a lot of work. Strong little saw, ain't even broke in yet, and I'm really impressed with it. Husqvarna 340 behind it, ported. I have a video on that showing before and after results. Really good little beater saw, really strong for what it is. And then that's just a bone stock 455 Rancher. Kind of up in the air on just letting it go, but it's not hurting a dang thing sitting here either. More Max. Got video on this. It's a bone stock Promac 700. One of the later ones, you know, the professional on top of it. They're one of the more sought after on eBay, but I kind of got one of those, I guess you could call it a Godfather deal on it. It was popped up, and I said, yeah, we're gonna buy that. And here it is. I could quadruple my money on it if I wanted to, but you know what? She's nice. We'll let her sit there on the shelf. Super Pro 81. About another one of those deals on that. I could quadruple my money on it if I wanted to. I swear I'd have to go back to the video, but I think all we had to do to this was clean the points on it. But it's single jet carb. I don't like points ignition. You know, automotive manufacturers stopped that crap in the 70s, so I've got chips sitting here already. We're going to take this one day and put a double jet carb on it, electronic ignition, and probably just leave it alone because it is a super nice saw. Then on the other hand, we have this Super Pro 80, and I do have video of running both of these back to back somewhere on the channel. This thing is ugly, but I'm telling you, it flat out cuts. We're going to tear this one down sometime in the near future. Probably try to catch it all on video. I'm looking into some better video equipment. What I've got right now is good, but we're going to look into something a little better. I've got paint to paint this and primer, automotive stuff, so we're going to tear it down. We're going to do some port work on it. It shouldn't need rings. It has a ton of compression. We'll probably try to locate some seals and put in it while it's down and try to make us a really, really good looking strong work saw out of that. Let's see, move to the next shelf. Our old Mac 300. I have video on that. It's been about a year ago, I guess, that I had it out running it. I think it was last fall. I've not ran it a lot, to be honest with you, but the dang thing cuts pretty good and is not as slow as you would think. If it wasn't so big and bulky, I could take it and work with it, I believe, but I'm sure it'd use a lot more gas than these new modern saws. 170. We've not had this one long either. It was another one of those eBay deals. I think the title of the video is like the $12,000 McCullough or something. That was a screw up on the bidding my wife done on the saw for me, but at the end we won the saw, and I'm wanting to say I had to put a chip in that. The centric for the points was wore out, and I'm thinking I just took a Tilly carb I had here off that was just laying here in a bucket and put on it just to get it running. And I swear I think we may have actually taken this thing out back and made some cuts with it, but you're welcome to hunt that video and watch it. But both of these I'm wanting to do restores on and do some port work on them. There's a lot you can do with these. It's basically a watered down cart motor stuck in both of them, both 87cc, so you know, we can get some pretty good gains out of these, I think. And then here's what I was fooling with this evening, or just a little while ago. I've been waiting to really late to come in here due to the heat. I have air, but you have to kind of turn it on and let it run a long time before it goes to doing anything. 660 hit saw, we just redone this one. I've put several hours on it since then, and we've milled a lot of lumber with this and cut a lot of wood, kind of beat the crap out of it. For a Chinese saw, it seemed to held up really well, but I think a lot of that has to do with putting it together yourself. But we kind of went in, touched up the port work on it a little, and put a pop-up in it, and the saw is just a flat-out ripper now. I did run it back-to-back against that 288, and the 288 had a 20 on it, and this one had a 24 in the same piece of wood, but that 288 was it was out cutting it. I'm not gonna lie, that 288's a freak, but like I said, you know, you're welcome to watch that video on it. I think it is listed as a shorts, but who knows, both of them really strong saws. Maybe if this one would have had a 20 on it, you know, the results may have been different, but that 288, just a bad saw, and I'm hoping I can replicate it in the future, or, you know, if not, do a little better than what's there. But anyway, 880 kit saw, you guys have seen some videos on that. Thing needs an unlimited coil on it. It's kind of holding it back. But really strong saw, make a really good milling saw or big wood saw. It's just a monster to pack around and operate, I guess is what I'm getting at. Homelight Super XL, not sure what we're going to do with this. Seems there's some pretty good gains out of porting them, but it's just so dang nice, you know. Maybe if I could get a hold of one that's a little rougher, but who knows, we may do something with it one of these days, but she looks good sitting there on the shelf. MS380 kit saw. This is the one in the video where Farmer Tech had sent us a cylinder that had some pretty crazy ports in it. That video's got a lot of attention. We did go back into it and put a Nicosil top end from the Duke on it. Totally different saw. This saw's really strong. It'll hang right with that 372. I don't think it'll outcut it, but it'll hang right with it. But really strong saw. I really like those. Then this is the MS290 that we ported. I've also got that one traded back off to Simple Man. He didn't have a ported 290 in his collection, so, you know, I'm wanting to build another one because I think I can do a little better. So, you know, we've traded around, and, you know, it's going to have a new home as well shortly. Then on the bottoms are ported Husqvarna 440. Been in the case since it was new. Kind of stays in there. That's why the saw still looks so good. First few years I had it, I kind of beat it to death, and lots of junk everywhere. And sadly enough, we don't have a lathe anymore. That thing, just don't waste your money on that one from Harbor Freight. We took it back. I think I got a lemon. Just had no power at all, and when it came down to it, it was not big enough to do what I wanted to do anyway. So, you know, maybe we'll run across a bigger one. If I buy another, it's going to be huge. I'm not fooling with small lathes, so we'll run across one of these days. You know, it'd take my saws to a little higher level, but, you know, for an old work saw, it's not going to really matter anyway. You can get a lot of gains out of one without machine work. A lot of guys do it, but we'd really love to find a big lathe somewhere. Little Poland Micro XXV. That was my father-in-law's. He passed away about 10 years ago, but my mother-in-law had dug a bunch of saws out from under her house and gave me, and we kind of done a little restoration on that one. Does run, it'll cut. I did do a little port work on it, but it kind of sits there on the shelf. Let's see what else. Gotta go to the cabinet now, guys. I've shown this recently, but the channel's grown quite a bit since then, so may as well show it again. This ain't a China one. This has got some aftermarket plastic, but 066. It's a big bore 56 millimeter. Saw's an animal. I have video of it. I don't really run it a lot because I started with a set of bare crankcases and, you know, an OEM crank, and by the time I found, you know, OEM starter cover and flywheel, and I think it had a coil on it when I got it to you in the wire, and then bought a bunch of aftermarket plastic. Most of that's from the Duke. I think it's got Farmer Tech top plastic, but the tank was from the Duke. Most of what we put on it was OEM. The cylinder was a Nicosil from the Duke. Saw makes a lot of compression. I think I've broke about half a dozen starter ropes in it. Even with the decomp, it's useless. It's one of those you don't want to kick back. Got a highway dual port on it. I've got several videos of it here on the channel somewhere, but I just don't get it out a lot. We may change that sometime in the future, but I'd kind of rather beat on the $350 one as opposed to the one I've got over 900 bucks in. But 064, kind of the same situation. This saw came from way down south. It was an eBay deal. I think this one came out of Louisiana, but it ran right out of the box, which was surprising. Looked like someone had pressure washed it and shoved it in a box, but we got it running, and I actually milled 2 or 3 logs with it, and then the crank seals in it, I guess, were shot, and PTO bearing had some slop in it, but there was no chain brake on it when I got it. There's some damage to the PTO side crankcase half. I kind of wish I'd had it TIG welded up, but whatever, it is what it is. This is like the 288. It's just one of those where everything just went right. It's OEM everything minus a meteor piston. And let's see, it's got a highway dual port cover. The rest of the muffler's OEM. And I think it's either a highway or a Sten's handlebar, but it had one on it, but it had some kind of crazy bush fix where it'd been broke, and you know, we put us a new handlebar on it. But I'm going to get this one out this fall and run it some. It is a really bad saw, but I actually think I can make it better because we didn't do a lot of work to the lower transfers in it. Really, really strong saw. Just another one of those I have a ton of money in and don't really run it a lot. 046 mag dual port. We milled with this for a long time, bone stock. Don't have a ton of hours on it, so you know, we may or may not pull that out one of these days. I think it needs a fuel line. It still runs, but it's really, really soft, and kind of give it a freshen up and do a support job on it. But I'm probably really not going to throw any aftermarket parts in this. Some saws I'm just picky that way with. I'm gonna, you know, some of them I'm just gonna put OEM stuff back in. Not that the aftermarket won't last, but it's just, I don't know, I'm just a little weird that way, I guess. But maybe some of you other guys will understand that. MS440 kit saw. This is a bad saw as well. I really like it. It's not been ran in a long time. I need to get it out and run it some. I'm trying to remember, gosh, it was probably back early spring, late winter that this thing was ran and set back in the shelf, but we'll get this out in a later video. 028 Super, I think I went through 3 top ends on it before I come up with something that I kind of liked, but I've had thoughts on it, and you know, I think it needs a piston swap in it. The piston that's in these has that big dome or pop-up on it and thick rings, and I just think there's room for improvement. So, you know, maybe this winter when we're bored, we may pick us up yet another top end and a different piston and, you know, try to wake it up a little more. But there's several videos on that, and, you know, I've talked to other people, and they're just one of those saws that's really, really hard to get anything out of. Way easier to take a 260 or 026, and you know, the 024 Super I done will just annihilate this thing in a cut. You know, I may get them out and run them just to see, but I think I know which saw is going to come out on top. 024 AV Wood Boss, 41 cc's, mean little saw for what it is. Several there's a couple, I think I got 3 or 4 videos on it. You just have to go through my playlist, but this is the one we just pulled back down and redone. Kind of had a hesitation, and once I went back in and cleaned things up a little more, you know, went back together with it. It just doesn't do it anymore, and it's a lot stronger, but you know, it is what it is. Change some timing numbers around. You know, if you're not happy with one, go back into it. You know, usually you'll figure it out, but for what it is, it's a pretty good little saw now. I really like it. Our 034, this saw's not even broken in. I've ran it very little. I think we took it up to Dad's place and put a couple layers on it. It was starting to break in, but it ain't done that really fat riching up on bottom end yet, so we really need to get that out and run it some more. So maybe the next time I go to the land, we may pull this one out and take it and try to put a couple more hours on it. But it was just a light woods port. I didn't even put a degree wheel on it. Base gasket delete, you know, widened the ports, cleaned everything up, and you know, made a really strong saw. It was a full rebuild. I have a couple videos on it you're welcome to watch. Then next, what do we have? This is the 038 Super we got from Simple Men. Couple videos on that. Had a video of it running against the 380 kit saw, and it kind of handed it its butt in the same log, so wasn't too bad. I think it was a 1.5 seconds difference in the cut or something, but that's kind of a lot of the reason we went back into that saw and changed the top end on it, because the stock saw beat it. And you'll run into that every now and then. You'll port one and it just won't be right, and the stock saw will outcut it. And if some of the guys say that they've not had that happen, well, they've not ported enough saws. I've been going at this going on 6 years, and you know, I've ported a lot of dang saws, and you've not seen all of them. I used to sell on eBay a lot. I've shipped saws all over this country, so I've kind of had my feet wet in it for a while, and I've ported cylinder heads and stuff on cars for over 20 years, so you know, I've done a lot of port work. But let's see, I'm getting off topic. MS360, we've had that saw for quite a while. We did have 2 of them, but we traded one off. I have several videos on this. Has a highway pop-up in it, OEM top end, full rebuild on it. I really like those saws. You know, it's basically the big brother to the 034. Really strong saw once ported. They don't really get a lot of the credit that they should, I guess. But and then last but not least, or at least in this building, I'm not getting into junk building tonight for it, but 041 Farm Boss. I have a video on that. It was one of those killer deals on eBay. I think I had a little over 50 bucks in it. It was supposed to be locked up, but what it was, it had some bar oil that had leaked into the crankcase, I guess. I found out that it does that if you let it set over time, and with what research I've done, it's kind of a common issue, but that's really all that was wrong with it. And the upper fuel line that goes from the top of the tank to the carb was missing. Really strong saw. I believe it's a low hour saw. I have several videos of it out cutting. You're welcome to watch, but you know, I thought I'd shoot you guys a little video, and you know, not to beat a dead horse, but we're all not going to agree on two-stroke theory and porting methods. I know Harvey had a kind of a rebuttal video on the one I done, basically saying, you know, basically that was me he was talking about, saying I was inexperienced. Yeah, I get it, laminar flow this, laminar flow that. I don't want to get scientific into it. This ain't a golf ball flying through the air. This is an air pump. You do need a texture on your port, but you know, we're not playing golf. It's not a dolphin swimming through the ocean. If you look into some of this stuff, like the boundary layer effect, again, not to be scientific, I don't do that here. Too much laminar flow, meaning too rough of a surface, can cause turbulence. And in these engines, you know, they're moving a lot of fuel and air mix really fast. You don't want turbulence in it. Some people are going to argue that, but just dig into it, you know. Take what I'm saying with a fine grain of salt. Everybody else, watch a lot of different porters. Just don't pick one porter and follow them. Don't pick my methods and follow me and follow them. Just watch a bunch of different people and come up with your own thing. And, you know, in the end, you may like it, you may not like it, but, you know, just because we don't agree on port theory don't mean we all can't get along. I know I'm a little blunt, but that's just the way it's going to be, and I'm not going to change for anyone. I'm not going to kiss anyone's ass on YouTube for subscribers or views. Just the way I am, I kind of stopped worrying about what others think of me a long damn time ago, and, you know, I would advise you to do the same, and, you know, just try to treat people good, and if they're dealing out BS and you want to call it, hell, call it. Just is what it is. If they don't like you, they'll stop following you. And, you know, if you don't like what I'm saying or what I've said, you know, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. But most of you guys know how it is and what I'm talking about. And, you know, if I've offended anyone, you know, I apologize. But what I've said really shouldn't offend anyone. And if it does, you've got other problems and may need to seek some attention. But, you know, with that said, thought I'd show you guys some of these saws and shoot a little video. It's probably way longer than I wanted it to be, but as always, thank you guys. You know, everyone stay safe out there. Try to keep cool. It's really hot out, and we've been seeing snakes everywhere. Killed a big copperhead last week up at Dad's place, and hell, the cats killed one garter snake out here in the yard earlier. But, you know, just be careful and stay safe, and you guys have a good one.